wanted to do a video on the mechanics of an EE savings bond, kind of the lifetime of one. So these are bonds that they go for 20 years, and then if the value of the bond is less than 2 times the face value of the bond, currently the Treasury will double that automatically for you. And then they mature 10 years after that. So they basically earn interest for 30 years. So right now the rate's a very small 0.3%, and I just have a starting amount of $25. So to know bond math, you need to know these rate periods. So up here I have just the first year. This is the first year what will happen to the bond if my understanding is correct, which I believe it is. So the first year, there's 2 rate periods, and in each rate period I have the months just going from 1 to 6. So what you do, the first month of the first year, first rate period, you would take this $25 and multiply it by this factor, which I'll talk about in a second, to get, $25.01. When you round it, it comes out to 1 cent. This factor comes from taking 1 plus the annual rate, which is 0.3%, divide by 2, and raise it to the power of the rate period you're in, the month that you're in, divided by 6. And that's rough. It'll be roughly around 1. Okay, so then you would come down to the second month, and you would do the same thing. You'd calculate this factor, and then you would take this $25, multiply it by the factor, again, to get a number, to get that number. And you keep doing that. But what happens when you get to the 6th month, which, when you get to this, basically the 7th month, the start of the second rate period, you calculate the factor the same way, but since you started a new rate period, the count of the months start over, and instead of multiplying, so if you went the same way, you'd think, well, I take 25 and multiply it by this factor. But if you did that, you would get this $25.01 again. So it's not the right calculation. Basically, the compounding happens here. So instead of multiplying 25 by this factor, you multiply the previous value, this 25.04. So that value becomes the new, kind of face value or value of the bond, so to speak. Okay, so that's what that number is. And then you go down to the next month, and again you use the 25.04. Okay. So again, you need to make sure you understand the rate periods. There's 2 rate periods a year. Label the months 1 to 6, and then start over 1 to 6, and calculate these kind of adjustment factors. And yeah, the main thing is to make sure you take this compounding into account. So you can do that for 20 years down the road. So say you do that for 20 years. So I'm scrolling down, and what happens at the end of the 20th year? Look at the value. It's $26.54. So in 20 years, your $25 became a whopping $26.54 because the rate's so low. But what the Treasury does, currently at least, is if that value is less than 2 times the original face value, so if it's less than 2 times $25 or $50, they'll automatically double it to get to $50. So that's why here I have, this value turns into the maximum of 2 times the par, which is the face value, or this previous amount. Whatever's the maximum, that's what starts off the 21st year. So since $50 is larger than this $26.54, we start out with $50. And we can gain interest for another 10 years to get to 30 years. Although the rate at which that would happen, I think that's up to the Treasury. Currently, though, I'm just using that same 0.3%. But I think this rate could technically be different. So you do that up to 30 years, and then you get $51.70. Okay? So your money more than doubled in 30 years, which I hope it would, no matter what the rate is. So that's that. So if I take this information and put it into this table, I get this. So I have the year, the amount, the gain. So for example, the first year, at the end of the first year, we get $25.08. So we've gained 8 cents, which is this 0.3%, which is consistent up here. And we do that, we keep going down through 30 years. And again, notice here, between the 20 and 21st year, that amount has doubled. I mean, went from $26.54 and suddenly we jumped to $50.33. There we go, because it doubled. Now let's say we change this rate to, say it's 5% or whatever. What's going to happen, and we can see this in the table, because that rate is so high that we're bound to double our money before 20 years. In fact, it looks like we start doubling it at 15 years. By the time we get down here to the 20 and 21st year, it's not going to double. It's not going to put $50 here, because the previous year it's already greater than double the amount. Okay, so I just wanted to show that. I hope it helped. I think the main thing is just to read up on the rate periods and how these factors are calculated, and also make sure you understand what the compounding means. Alright, well thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video. Bye-bye.